So I just want to tell everyone a story about how I met my husband and how we came to be. Well, I believe it was back in 2015 that I first met him. I was introduced to him by a now ex-friend of mine. I just recently got out of an abusive relationship with someone prior to that. And I was so scared to talk to somebody or talk to anybody, I want to focus on myself. But she was like, hey, he's a good guy, he's nice, he's country. And that was a plus for me because I was a country girl. So I decided to give in. She gave me his number and I started texting him, and we decided to meet up at the Baptist church where I used to live up there in town. Whenever I met him, I rode up there on my bike, and oh my god, whenever he opened his truck door, I just stood there in awe. My legs started shaking and my heart started pounding so fast I couldn't breathe, and my hands started to shake. I was like, oh my god, he is so hot, and he smelled so fucking fine. And I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And he held his hand out to me to give me a hug, and he hops out of the truck, and oh my god, that feeling that I felt like a warmth all over my body, and I was just traumatized. Well, not traumatized, I don't know how to explain it. I was just like a little schoolgirl and having a crush. Well, after I met him that night, we decided to do a little one-night stand. I was nervous about it, but I decided to go through with it. Of course, I had to wait till my parents went to sleep because I was still living at home at the time. I snuck at about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was fucking cold. It was in December, y'all guys. I was wearing a spaghetti strap shirt and some joggers that had fish on them. And I walked all the way up to the church in the fucking cold at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I got in his truck, and he had a Chevy Colorado, and I love those trucks. And he drove so fucking fast to his house, y'all. And there we got in, we did it or whatever. Well, after that, I gave him a hug after all was done. We took a shower together, whatever. And he offered to drive me home. I just told him to, drop me off at the end of my road. And he was like, I really want to take you to your house, make sure you're okay. And I was like, no, it's okay. Well, the next day, my ex-friend told me some stuff about him that I didn't like. Plus, he told me himself that he was talking to other women, and that was a huge turn off to me, because I just recently got out of an abusive relationship, and I wanted someone that would just focus on me and not be a player. So I was so devastated. I blocked his number, and I just cried and cried. And I told her, I was like, why'd you even lie to me and set me up with him? And she was like, well, I thought you needed to have fun. And I was like, I'm a serious person. I want a serious relationship. So he chose someone over me. And till this day, it really does hurt so much that he chose her over me the first time. It always makes me question myself if I'm actually good enough and if he actually loves me. But he got out of the relationship with her a few years down the road, and they were engaged. That time I was working at a gas station, and he came in, and I saw him, and I was like, oh god, I'm not gonna get hurt again and get put on the back burner and get used. And he was like, hey, me and her broke up. I want to talk. And I was so devastated that he even had the balls to tell me he wanted to talk to me after all that bullshit. But I was like, okay, whatever. So then we started, talking again. And of course, we had a few one-night stands, but I didn't ever let it get close. But then, I decided to give him a chance again. And we went on our first date. And our first date ever actual date, I fell pregnant with our first child. But of course, I'll get to that story another time, but I lost that baby at 5 months, and it was a little girl. But now we have 2 beautiful sons. But anyway, about 2 months in our relationship, he asked me to marry him at our local seafood restaurant, and of course I said yes. I'm still dealing with the whole issue that he chose her over me, but hey, it's been 5 years. I'm sure that he loves me, but I'm just still bothered by it. But we got married May 4th of 2016. And yeah, that's just how I met my husband, our little story, and now we're here. We've dealt with some stuff in our lives. We've lived in my parents' home, we lived in my aunt's home, his aunt's home. Now we're, staying here, working on buying our own home. But yeah, that's my little love story on how I met my husband. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll get to more stories later about how my labors went with both my boys. Thanks.